Hi everybody, my name is Caroline. Thank you for joining me for the second of a 6-part series all about Arduino. We are using the most complete set from Elegoo, and they provided this to me so I could talk about Arduino on my channel. I will link to everything below. This is the second part, so if you missed the first part, I will link to it below. Please go back and watch that video. That is a complete setup of how we set up Arduino to talk to our computer, or how we load sketches onto our Arduino from our computer. Make sure everything is set up before you proceed. This video is going to be all about LEDs. This is a red LED, probably can't see that from this far away, and this is RGB LED, and we are going to cover lessons 3, 4, and 5 from the tutorial PDF provided by Elegoo as part of this complete starter kit. Let's get started. Now, to get started, we'll need to open the PDF tutorial document from Elegoo. Now, I downloaded that in the last episode. If you missed that, please go back and watch it. And we are on page 43, lesson 3. Now, this could vary because they do make updates to their lessons every once in a while, but please consider this just a general guide to the projects that I'd like to showcase from Elegoo with the Arduino. So this is lesson number 3. It is LED, and we are going to be using the red LED in the first part of this tutorial. And now I'm going to switch to a close-up. The materials you'll need for this section of this video include your Arduino, the cable to connect it to your computer. You will also need your breadboard. You will also need 2 male-to-male jumper cables, and of course 1 red LED. And you'll also need some resistors as well. The resistors we're using are 10,000 ohms, and then 1,000 ohms, and then 220 ohms. Now I'm ready to wire up my breadboard with my LED here. If you notice the LED, there is one lead that is longer than the other. That denotes the positive lead, the long one, and the shorter one is the negative lead. And the way I'm going to wire this up is I'm going to put the negative into the ground rail on this bar right here. And then I'm going to put the positive into this rail right here. Hopefully you know how a breadboard works. If you don't know how a breadboard works, I would highly recommend going through the documentation included with the kit. But just a quick lesson on how a breadboard works. These 5 leads are connected to each other, 5, 5, and then the ground and power leads are connected all the way across. For example, here is the ground, and I'm going to plug it into what is denoted as ground into my Arduino, and then I'll plug that into the ground rail here on my breadboard. And then for the positive, I will select the 5 volts on my Arduino and then connect that into the positive rail on my breadboard. Now, this project is a project in looking at the brightness depending on the resistors that you're using. So we'll start with the lowest resistor, which is a 220 ohm resistor, and we're going to place that between the positive lead of the LED and the power rail. Now I've got that hooked up. Now you don't really need your computer for this one. We're not going to be using any code. I am just going to plug this into a power bank, and there hopefully you can see my red LED is now on. This is the brightest setting that you're going to see in this demo. If I pull that off and I take the 1,000 ohm LED, I'm going to replace it. So I'm going to put one end in the positive rail and the other end connected to the positive lead of the LED. Now you'll see it's just a little bit dimmer than what you saw previously. And now let's replace this with the 10,000 ohm resistor. And this should be the dimmest. So once again, same thing, positive rail and then the positive lead of the LED, and now you see the dimmest version. And this is lesson 3 of the Arduino kit. For project number 4, RGB LED, here are the materials that you'll need. You'll need your breadboard, you'll need your Arduino Uno, you'll need your cable that you connect from the Arduino to your computer, you'll need your computer, you will need your RGB LED, and the way that you know this is an RGB LED is because there are 4 prongs coming off of this LED. Now, in the kit here, mine came in this little box here, and I found my RGB LED right here. There are other clear LEDs right here. These only have 2 prongs. This will not work. You're looking for the LED with 4 prongs. You'll need 4 jumper cables. I'm going to use red, green, and blue, and also a black jumper cable to denote ground. You will need 3 resistors of 220 ohms each, and once again I pulled these off of my resistor pack, 220 ohms. Now, as according to the instructions in the PDF, the longest node is called the cathode, and we're going to hook that up to ground in this tutorial. And now I have my RGB LED all wired up, so I've got my ground pin to ground on my Arduino, and then I've got red, green, and blue wired up through these resistors I have between the contacts, and then I have my Arduino plugged into my USB port on my computer. The next thing we need to do is open the correct sketch, and I am going to Arduino. I want to do a file open. From the Elegoo zip file we downloaded, I'm going to English, then I'm going to code, then I'm going to lesson 4 RGB LED. Then within that, here is the code. I'm going to open that, and we see we've defined pins 3, 5, and 6 for our blue, green, red. And then we want to start with the red high and the green and blue low. And then we're going to loop through this delay here, and then I am going to, you can verify and then upload. You can always just hit upload if you just want to skip right through it. It will automatically verify before it uploads. And now you can see that our RGB LED is cycling through all of the different colors. I'm zooming in on that just slightly. I see here that we have a delay time, and I think I can cycle through these colors just a little bit faster. Let's see, I'm going to change my 10 to a 5, and then I'm going to hit upload, and I should see all of my colors change quickly. And there you go. I've changed the delay time, and by the same token I could make this a lot slower. I'll just change it from 5 to 15, hit upload, and now the fading time is significantly slower than what you saw previously. And this is lesson number 4, RGB LED from the most complete kit from Elegoo. For lesson number 5, digital inputs, you will need the following materials. You'll need your Arduino, of course. You'll need your cable. You'll need your breadboard. We are using 2 push switches here that came with our kit, 1 220 ohm resistor, 1 red LED, and 7 male-to-male jumper wires. As we're placing down our push switches here, please note that there's only one way they're going to fit across the beam of our breadboard, and that is this way. It will not fit the other way just because it's too narrow to fit this way. There's only one way that it will fit. We'll push that down. And now I have my Arduino wired up as per the wiring diagram. We've got our LED, our resistor, we've got our 2 buttons. We push down the buttons, nothing really happens. We do have Arduino connected to our computer. Now over here on our computer, we've got the wiring diagram. We need to open up the correct sketch. I'm going to hit open, and from the Elegoo most complete set, I'm going to hit English and then code, and we are on lesson number 5, digital inputs, and here is the sketch that we are going to upload. You can hit verify and then upload, or you can just hit upload and it will verify for you. And now we see nothing's happened on our board. If we press this button, nothing happens, but if we press this button, it lights up. Our LED is on now. I'm going to press this button again, nothing happens. Press this button here and it turns itself off. This is the on button and this is the off button. And that's what we have made. We have made a digital input switch on and off. To zoom in, we've got on and we have off. On and off. And that is the entire lesson 5 digital inputs. Thanks for joining me for part 2 of our 6-part series on Arduino and the Elegoo complete set. Next week, I'm going to focus on a servo motor. The servo motor is included in this kit. I will link to everything below. I'll see you next time. Bye now.